Make sure you hit that stone right there. Stop number 11 on the ACC football road trip, and it brings us right here to the belly of the beast, Blacksburg, Virginia, Lane Stadium. Take a nice look right now, EJ. Oh, yeah. This place can look mighty different in about 2 weeks. The Tar Heels coming to town, a top 10 team, fans in a building. I can already hear Enter Sandman. But for right now, man, we got a big show ahead. We got a nice little hour here. QB1 for the Hokies. Braxton Burmeister is going to join us.
Yes, sir. And the other quarterback, head coach Justin Fuente, he's going to be joining us too.
The other guy's not a quarterback. He's the director of athletics in Whit Babcock. He's going to hang out with us, talk about the future of Virginia Tech athletics as well.
You talk about the future, Jordan. There's going to be some beautiful facilities coming up here in the future. We'll get a chance to tour the ones they have right now. Great campus.
We're going to tour this place. We're going to talk to some important people. Only one thing to do, man. It's time to start the show.
Let's get it.
Let's go. Move-in weekend here in Blacksburg, Virginia. Virginia Tech about to start another academic year, which means another athletic year. Burris Hall, main building for administration on campus. And here we are. Jordan Cornette, EJ Manuel. Stop number 11. You got your salmon shirt on, so you know we're about to have a good show today.
I think the color's fitting. I mean, I don't have the maroon pants like Virginia Tech colors, but I think this orange fits in.
Well, maybe we can find the gear people here and try and pilfer some gear. The Hokies are very excited about what's coming up this year. Lane Stadium will be a weapon that they can use with fans back in the stadium. But when you talk about the Hokies, there's some storylines and there's some questions. EJ, start us off with some of those storylines.
Yeah, well, Jordan, I think the biggest storyline is just Coach Fuente talked about the team's identity last year and said the lack of identity because really they were going through COVID. Players were out, coaches were out. They really didn't have the continuity that Virginia Tech's had for so many years. I mean, you think about the lunch pail as far as the special teams and, you know, the defenses that were taught by Coach Bud Foster when he was coaching. So I think that's when Coach Fuente talks about identity. He wants to get those guys back to that. And he also mentioned, are we a tough football team? And I'm not talking about being a tough guy, trying to be, you know, the guy that's standing out in front of everybody. Can we go out there and be mentally tough when we're down 17 in the second quarter of a game? Are we mentally tough and strong enough to get ourselves out of that hole?
What should that identity, if you were to lay it out for the Hokies, what would it be?
Well, I think anytime you think of Virginia Tech football, it starts with defense. I feel like those guys are the keynote speakers for the team. They're always known, and I'm an offensive guy. When I played against Virginia Tech, we knew we were going to have to bring it because the defense is always going to be sharp. So I really feel like they set the tone. But even now, you talk about quarterbacks too. Braxton Burmeister, a guy that's versatile. He can throw the ball. He can run the ball. When you think back of Virginia Tech's past and their successes, Michael Vick, Tyrod Taylor, all those kinds of guys that bring similar attributes that Braxton has.
Second storyline for us, CJ.
The second storyline I would say is, look, replacing the top rusher. Obviously, Khalil Herbert was a special running back now in the NFL, but they have four guys that are all vying for those carries, Jordan. You talk about King, you talk about Holston, you talk about Blackshear, you talk about Lee, and not to mention the quarterback. Braxton Burmeister can make plays with his legs too, so I think that's going to be huge for them. And obviously, when you talk about rushers, you know, they get all the glory, right? But the offensive line, they don't get enough talk about. And I think those guys are going to be really what drives the rush game because, look, Virginia Tech leads the ACC or one of the top in ACC as far as yards before contact. So I think that goes back to the offensive line, not just the running back.
You say defense is potentially the identity or should be for the Hokies. Give me that final storyline.
Well, I think also that defense. I mean, you look about Amari Barno, a guy that really showed flashes last year of, I think, a future NFL prospect, someone that if he continues to grow can even go into be in the first or second round pick with his size and his ability. But these guys fly around, they get after the quarterback, they, you know, come up and make big tackles. Jamari Connor, another guy that we'll get a chance to talk to here in the show. He's going to be an impact player playing that safety position, come down the box and hit you too. So I'm excited, man. You know, I grew up in Virginia. I was a kid that watched this team play for years, and I think they're a part of what we need in the ACC to be good in order for the whole ACC to get that respect too.
Well, EJ, it's funny. That defense truly has a challenge in the opening week of the season here at Lane Stadium. Sam Howell, one of the top talents at the quarterback position, an explosive North Carolina offense comes in here to really challenge him. But it's intriguing because Sam Howell doesn't have those weapons that he had a year ago. And to try and figure it out and gain that rhythm in Lane Stadium week one is going to be a supreme challenge.
Well, you talk about those weapons that Sam Howell doesn't have, but I think they're reloading. I think they got some really good guys at receiver, Josh Downs, Chaffee Brown, Bo Corrales, he'll be healthy. But I guarantee this Virginia Tech team, they're hungry. They know that they didn't do as well as they could have last year. And again, I think COVID really impacted this football team because you never really saw them get their, you know, their feet in the ground and say, okay, this is who they are. This is what they're going to be. And I feel like anytime you're on a football team like that, it's extremely hard to win games consistently. So the fact that Lane Stadium's going to be packed with all the fans back and the Sandman's going to be going on, these guys are going to be ready to go.
Yeah, and they're going to have a lot of opportunities looking at the schedule here. It's a challenging one for Virginia Tech. And as we mentioned, starts off truly with week one. in North Carolina. A tough challenge with Middle Tennessee week 2, and then it carries all the way through. Notre Dame, October 9th. We will be here, the Huddle crew, for that game. And as we said, fans are back in Lane Stadium, vintage Lane Stadium. Take a listen and a look.
Braxton Burmeister.
He's an interesting player. He's a very good athlete. Justin Fuente talked a lot about his speed.
He's going to be one of the fastest men on the field all night long. Burmeister, nice throw there, and he got it free to Robinson, and Robinson is free down the sideline into the end zone for a touchdown. Blackshear cutting loose across the 10. He is into the end zone for a touchdown. Picked off once again by the Hokies. Well, they call him Big Play Trey. One-on-one. Looking for Turner. Holy moly. Big Play Trey Turner. Touchdown Tech.
A sublime overhead look at the drill field in the heart of Virginia Tech's campus. The ACC football road trip, stop number 11, Hokies edition, and the sun is shining. And we've been lucky with the weather, and the luck continues on because we got Coach Justin Fuente joining us now. Coach, we appreciate you having us.
You bet. Thanks for coming. Thanks for making the trip.
Yeah, and it's interesting to be here in front of Lane Stadium on a quiet day. We know it's going to be very different. How excited are you to have the fans back this year?
You know, our home experience is so much more than just a game. I mean, it's fellowship, it's camaraderie, it's school pride, it's pomp and circumstance, and we had none of it, you know, for an entire year. And just to get people back together, you know, for a common goal and to celebrate and enjoy some time together is going to be, I think, emotional and a beautiful, fun event that we can't wait to get kicked off.
And Coach, I remember you saying at the ACC media kickoff that it was so hard to get an identity as a football team last year with COVID guys being out, coaches being out, so many different changes. How important has that been now in fall camp to have that identity going into the season?
Well, it's been huge. I mean, we've asked the question since the start of fall camp, are we a tough team? And when I say that, I don't mean slamming our head into the lockers, and I'm not talking about the meathead tough.
Right.
Are we a mentally and emotionally tough football team? Can we pour our heart and soul and our focus into whatever the task is in front of us every single time? Certainly there's some schematic part of that and philosophy and stopping the run and running the football, but the bottom line is, you know, we're hanging on by a thread like many people were last year. Now it's time for us to try to excel and really create our identity as a football team.
And Coach, you talk about the growth of Braxton Burmeister, your starting quarterback. I think he would have played more last year, but a lineman stepped on his foot, so he had some injuries that he was dealing with. How has he grown going from the spring now in the fall camp as well?
Well, I think the thing that we see is he continues to become more comfortable in his own skin. Right. You know, I mean, you go through situations and dynamics and trying to find your way and try to be a great player. And, you know, now it's his opportunity. And, yeah, certainly I think he would have played maybe quite a bit more, certainly more, had he not suffered the broken toes in the middle of the year last year. But we're excited to have him. He brings a lot of talent and athleticism, but also some savvy and intelligence to the position.
Coach, the run game is such a big part of what you've done in years past, most especially last year with Khalil Herbert leading the way. What adjustments need to be made in terms of replacements to regain that production that you've enjoyed?
Well, we've got to be efficient. I mean, Khalil, I don't know that I've ever had a year where we had as many big plays in the run game. I mean, big, long touchdowns. And I don't know if we'll have those, but we've still got to create those gap plays or those chunk plays through the running game. And, you know, we've got a capable group back there. I don't know that it'll be one guy all the time. You know, Jalen Holston and Raheem Blackshear have had great camps. Mm-hmm. They've played a lot of football. Keyshawn King is a young player that's continued to come along and develop, that has some of that home run explosiveness. So I'm excited to get those guys out there and get them some carries and see how it goes.
And Coach, on the defensive side of the football, obviously you're an offensive-minded coach, being a quarterback, but how have those guys been competing against your offense and who has stood out to you?
Well, it's been really good. We've got a lot of guys that have played snaps. We've got our secondary returning, And some of them didn't even hardly play last year. I mean, the biggest thing is, you see Shamari Connor and all the snaps he's played over the years and the quality of player that he is, and he's grown into his own self as a leader. But to get a guy like Jermaine Waller back on the field and focused and in great shape and healthy and ready to play has been really nice. Dax has moved to his natural position. Alan Tisdale's really blossomed through the offseason and matured. So I'm excited about some of the athleticism and knowledge and experience that we've got on that side of the ball.
And I want to ask you about James Mitchell. So I went back and watched the game versus UVA last year. You guys won handily as well. He was returning punts. I forgot about that part. So how do you plan on using him as far as mismatches? Obviously at his normal position at tight end, but how do you plan on moving him around the field?
Well, the thing that makes James really special, in my opinion, is, first of all, his knowledge base. I mean, you can really almost ask anything of him, and he can comprehend it and execute it. But the fact that he's become a willing and more than competent blocker has added to his value, because we knew he was a skilled player coming out of high school. He played quarterback, he played safety, he did everything for his high school team. So running and catching passes wasn't going to be an issue. But what he had to do is contribute in the blocking game, and that's where he's really taken off, because if you're a tight end that can't block, you're just a slow wideout. You've got to be able to do both, and now you get a chance to line him up in the line of scrimmage, to split him out, to try and get him matched up on the backside of trips or on a linebacker, and you're really only limited by your imagination when it comes to James.
Coach, we opened the show with the key storylines to the Hokies season. EJ laid those out beautifully. I'm going to pivot and ask you, what's the biggest key to success for the Hokies this season?
Well, I think it starts with our ability to stay healthy. We've got to do a great job taking care of ourselves. And when we're working, we've got to be focused on the task at hand. Kind of the next level of that will be, can we come together? Can we handle the ups and downs, the trials and tribulations, the good and bad? We watched all these videos of these teams that had great seasons, and not one of them in the post-game interview ever said, man, that was a lot easier than I thought. They all talked about the trials and tribulations and how difficult it was to get over the hump. And I love the way our guys are going about that preparation and that mode of preparation. Certainly we'll need to be better in areas. We've got to make plays on special teams, not just hang it. That's what we have done in the past. We did not do that as much last year. We got to be able to run the ball and stop the run. And that's, where college football starts and ends.
Well, Coach, I just wanted to ask you, too. I mean, obviously you have a huge matchup with North Carolina. They're coming to town. You're going to have your full stadium. Everybody's going to be in town. Have you started to prepare for that game? I know sometimes in the dog days of camp you're going against offense, defense, but you have pretty much all your starters returning. So have you started preparing more detail for that team?
We are one day away from kind of turning the page. So we have tomorrow we'll still continue to work together. Right. And then we'll kind of break camp, and we'll have 2 weeks or just short of 2 weeks to begin to really focus on those sorts of things. Have both sides of the ball looked at things that will make their way into the game plan, certainly. But we'll really turn our attention after we finish tomorrow and take a day off and start to work some scouts and start to really service each other, offense and defense, as we turn our attention to the first game.
Coach, so much talk comes with the Coastal and the idea of coastal chaos. How do you react to that phrase and the belief that it's really any team's opportunity going in to take the crown?
Well, I mean, that's the way it's played out, certainly every year that I've been involved in the league. And, it's just, there's no telling what may or may not happen. And the teams are so close in talent level. The teams are led by really good staffs and coaches and facilities and those sorts of things. It's been difficult for anybody to really leap all the way out there. So I don't take it as a slight. I think some people do, and some people maybe use it as a slight. But, I think we've got a really good, competent division with a bunch of people, fighting and scratching and clawing, trying to get to the top.
Well, the Hokies, without question, have a chance to contend. Coach Justin Fuente, we appreciate the time. We appreciate you having us here.
You bet. Thanks for coming, guys.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, if the Hokies hope to contend like we expect them to, it's going to be on the back of their quarterback, Braxton Burmeister, QB1, last year 3-1 as a starter. What will that record be this year, and how will the season play out? We discuss with the quarterback. That's next. Braxton Burmeister is the Hokies starter. Pretty impressive record, going 3-1 in those 4 games. As for Virginia Tech in the other 7 games started by other quarterbacks, a mere 2-5. So the Hokies, well, they should be smiling pretty heavily because going into the season, QB1 is indeed Braxton Burmeister, who joins us now. Braxton, thanks for having us here in your backyard. And as I look at you, I look over your shoulder at Lane Stadium. It's quiet. There's nobody in there. Be a vastly different scene in a few weeks when number 10, North Carolina, comes here to town. How excited are you to have fans back in a packed arena, packed stadium, with an impressive team coming in?
We're really excited. It feels like it's been a long time since we've had fans, and that's one of our biggest blessings as a Virginia Tech Hokie is to fill out Lane Stadium, and the fans are wild, so we're looking forward to it.
Now, Braxton, I actually heard the reason you didn't play a lot or the whole season was because I think a lineman stepped on your foot, but thankfully you had a full spring, you had a chance to really get your receivers, get that timing down. What were some of the biggest things you worked on in this past spring?
I think you hit it right on the head, the timing. Working with my receivers, we throw a lot of timing routes, a lot of 10-yard outs, speed outs, and just getting the timing, getting with those guys, and I really hadn't really had a full spring ball or fall camp going into last year, so having that full spring ball and just working with those guys and throwing those routes really helped a ton.
Braxton, you know, there was some uncertainty at the quarterback position a season ago. Now you know going into this year it is your spot. What does that do for your confidence and ultimately your performance?
It helps a ton. I get all the 1 reps during practice, and I mean, EJ can tell you that's huge as a quarterback, growing your confidence and working with those receivers every day, day in and day out, just getting those reps. So I definitely take it as a blessing and looking forward to it.
Well, talk to us about your receiving core, man. We obviously know the run game is great. We know the O-line is awesome, but your receiver core, you have some really good players coming back. Obviously, Mitchell being probably the keynote speaker at tight end. Talk to those guys a little bit. How have they been performing in spring?
Yeah, like you said,
in summertime.
James is amazing. I mean, he's a tight end, but he runs like a receiver, catches every ball I throw to him. And then we got Trey Turner and Tavion Robinson on the outside, and they're both big-time playmakers. Tavion's a big-time possession catch receiver, and Trey's really our big go big, go home type of guy. So it's awesome having those guys, and they make my job really easy.
Braxton, that offensive line is going to be key to the operation, being able to activate a run game and keeping you clean. Talk a little bit or tell us a little bit about what that offensive line has looked like so far in camp.
They've looked amazing. In the scrimmages we've had, we've run the ball real well, and it starts up front, and it's led by Brock Hoffman, our center, and one of my roommates. So those guys are awesome. They've been one of the best O-lines in the country, I think, like the last 4 years. So we're just rolling with them and feel really confident in them.
And look, when people think of Virginia Tech football, you think of defense. So how has the defense been showing up? How have they been challenging you this past in the summertime?
We've had great competition going back and forth, and Virginia Tech has always been a lunch pail defense school, and we've just had great competition all through summer, all through fall camp, and I'm excited to see those guys go play against another team instead of us.
Right.
So one thing that's really interesting to me in studying up on you as a quarterback, Braxton, I don't think I was aware of the elite athlete you are. We knew you were athletic, but we looked at some of the times and some of the speed and agility tests, and we're really surprised to see how you tested. Can you enlighten us on how you did compared to your teammates?
I guess in the GPS tracking, I was #1 on the team, but some of those guys didn't have GPSs on, I guess, and and so there's still a little debate going on, but I was #1 in the mile per hour.
Obviously, Khalil Herbert's moved on to the NFL, but you're bringing back some really talented running backs. How have they been performing for you this past summer?
They've been awesome. Multiple guys have stepped up in that room to replace Khalil, and Jalen Holston, Raheem Blackshear, and Keyshawn King are the 3 main ones that I've seen step up. And I mean, they've all done a great job during fall camp and been splitting reps, and I like what I see out of all of them.
Braxton, James Mitchell is a guy who's as talented a pass catcher as any in this conference and in the country, quite frankly. EJ talked about him earlier, but his nickname, the Gov. Can you enlighten us on where that came from?
I guess because everyone loves James. James is everyone's best friend. He's the nicest guy in the world, so I guess we can all see him as the governor one day, so I think that's where that comes from.
Well, having a guy like that, having an option like that, what kind of pressure does that alleviate on your job as QB1 for these Hokies?
It makes my job easy. I mean, just throw it near him, he goes and makes a play, and he blocks well too. I mean, he's an awesome player to have beside me.
James Mitchell, the governor, the blocker, the pass catcher,
punt returner,
the performer. How about James Mitchell, the tour guide? That's right. He's going to take us around here in Blacksburg on campus at Virginia Tech, show us some of the beautiful facilities here.
What's up, guys? It's James Mitchell, tight end here at Virginia Tech, and today I'm going to be showing you guys around some of our facilities. So first, over here we got all of our cold tubs set up after practice for fall camp. It's actually mandatory. We get a little mandatory ice bath in Guys sit around, fellowship, eat ice cream, popsicles, or whatever after practice and get a good ice tub in. All right, so now we're gonna take you guys into the weight room, or as some of us like to call it, the House of Hillgard. So right when we walk in, we got treadmills right here to our right, to your left, I guess. We got bikes down there, right here. We have a Stairmaster. Some nice little machines we can get extra conditioning on. Got this whole turf, I believe it's 40 yards, so we can get a lot of speed work in, a little auxiliary workouts in right here as well too. We got our nutrition bar right here, called the nutrition station. So over here we got, this is where we have all of our post-lift shakes, anything that our nutritionist wants to make for us. We got snacks down there in the bottom, ham roll-ups, turkey roll-ups, fruit. And then back in here, we got drinks, water, Gatorade, nutrition shakes. You see we got bananas, Gatorade chews, all that back there. Our nutritionist, Carly, does a great job, you know, keeping us fueled up for lifts and practice all the time. So back here, we got all of our dumbbells. You know, they got the VT on them, all of them. All of the stuff in here is pretty much, you know, they worked with us, put the VT on all the racks, on the benches. And you can see it's on all the dumbbells right here. And kind of our motto right there, exit light, inner night right there. And a little hokey stone with the VT right there as well. So we got dumbbells. I believe they go all the way up to, looks like 175. So whoever's strong enough can go hit the largest dumbbell. We got boxes for box jumps over there. We got a lot of things in this weight room. You know, they did a good job of hooking us up and making sure we got everything we need to be the best we can be on the field. So this right here is our tight end room. This is where we do all of our pre-practice meetings, come in and watch film during the season. As you can see, it's been updated very nicely compared to what we used to have. We got drinks in the back to keep us hydrated during meetings, during camp, you know, keep guys from cramping up. Got our guy Dalton King back there on the wall. Great player, great teammate that we played with. So now we're gonna show you guys my favorite facility, the Student Athlete Performance Center. This is where all the athletes across campus have all their meals. So over here during lunch, they have made-to-order sandwiches, or you can get ham, turkey. Sometimes they even have steak sandwiches over there. And then around here, also during breakfast, they have omelets. So we have your made-to-order omelet station. And we actually have a wing bar over there sometimes too, where they can make your own wings as well. And over here, you know, they'll have the menu for the day up on the board. So, you know, it's serve yourself, so you can get whatever you want, however much you want. And if you come over here, so back here is our wood-fired pizza. So sometimes the lunch or dinner, they'll hook us up with some pizzas and just have it set out over here. Like I said, serve yourself. You can get however much you want. They'll even have to-go boxes for you so you can take it home and enjoy it as well. You want to come out here. We got a nice deck out here. Shows a nice view of the practice field. Nice view of lane as well.
Well, if you call the Hokies football program DBU, you wouldn't be wrong. How about some numbers to illustrate that fact? Most interceptions by teams in the FBS the last 25 seasons. The Hokies are on top with 399. Impressive programs behind them in Ohio State, Florida, and Oregon. Chamari Connor chipped in 3 of those interceptions over his career, and he joins us now. Chamari, we appreciate you having us here, being able to hang out in your facilities, talk a little bit about this Hokies team. And when you think about Virginia Tech football, you lead with defense. Defense wasn't what you guys wanted it to be last year, but there's reasons for optimism this year. Enlighten us on why.
You know, we laid a lot of our groundwork down for our defense in the spring ball. You know, during this fall camp and this whole summer, we've been just trying to improve every day, trying to get better every day, build our chemistry. All the guys come together and build our chemistry. So, you know, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, look, Chamari, when I watch you on tape, man, you fly all over the field and kind of play that role of safety, play nickel, play in the box, and come up and hit the linebacker or hit the running backs, led the team with tackles. When you go back and watch your tape, what were some areas that you wanted to improve on? Because obviously this is your senior year, get a chance to go to the NFL next year. So what areas did you want to improve on?
You know, I always try to focus on improving on covering. You know, I got to cover the slot receivers, mostly fast guys, so try to improve on covering. you know, improve on my speed, improve on the small techniques and the small details of the game.
And obviously, man, like I said, you're a senior, right? So you want to leave Virginia Tech in a better place. How important is it to leave a good legacy here at VTech for yourself?
It's very important. That's very important. I've really been focusing on that a lot this year, not just, you know, being better on the field, but off the field as well, you know, trying to help lead the team and being a more vocal leader instead of just being, you know, a lead by example type.
Jamari, if you guys want to make a statement, you got one heck of an opportunity week one. Sam Howell in North Carolina, we know what that offense has been, but there's some new weapons. So there's going to be some adjustments going on with the North Carolina team trying to figure it out in Lane Stadium. How excited are you for that opportunity to make a statement for your defense?
Oh, I'm very excited for that opportunity. You know, I think they're a good team. You know, they got a talented quarterback. I'm just ready to get out them, ready to start looking at film, watching film on them, man.
Well, look, we know you got an amazing defensive end in Barno. So how has he grown? Obviously still a young guy trying to figure it out, body's still growing and things like that, but how has he grown in the spring and also in fall camp?
Barno has grown a lot. You know, last year was his first year playing DN. So this year we had a full off season. He really, you know, focused on being a DN this year instead of trying to be a linebacker like he have been in the past. So yeah, he's grown a lot. He improved his game a lot, and I'm ready to see him. Yeah.
Lane Stadium was not what Lane Stadium typically is last year due to COVID. And we know the kind of lift fans provide for certain teams. It feels even more enhanced in a place like this. Can you tell us a little bit about what these fans mean to you guys when you're able to be on the field and perform?
You know, they mean a lot to us. You know, they always bring the energy, always bring the juice every game, every home game, even away games, all our fans always come to support us. You know, I can't wait till they get back in Lane Stadium.
And I always like to ask the DBs how they feel about the receivers, because you guys know each other best. So you go up against those receivers all the time. Who has stood out to you? You got some really good veterans coming back, but who's played well in the fall camp?
Tavion Robinson, Trey Turner, Caleb Smith, you know, all those guys stepped up this camp. This whole offseason, really, all those guys stepped up, led their room, and I'm very excited to see those guys.
When you talk preseason, Chamar, you think about preseason expectations, realistic goals. What would you lay out for this Hokies team this year that say, that's what we can go out and achieve, that's what you can expect from us every Saturday this fall?
You know, we focus on one game at a time. We always take it one game at a time. But, you know, I'm really focused on getting better every day, getting better every game. You know, everybody playing at the same level instead of it being a drop-off, everybody playing at the same level, you know.
And Jamar, you know what separates you from other DBs, not just in ACC but in the country? What do you think you bring to a game, that X factor that when the scouts turn on the tape that they'll see from you?
I'm a very physical DB, as I think a lot of people can see. I'm a very physical DB, but I also can, you know, I also can cover. I also can guard small guys. I can guard tight ends. Like, it's really like whatever.
Sir.
I like that. Jamari saying, EJ, whatever you need, I can provide for it. And we look forward to watching you, Jamari Connor, this season. We appreciate you joining us.
All right, thanks, man.
The show moves along. Director of Athletics, Whit Babcock, joins us to talk about his vision as he's enjoying a 5-year extension as the guy in charge here at Virginia Tech.
In 1963 was the first firing of Skipper. And it was kind of a dream of all the cadets in the Corps. The 3 people that did it had no idea that today it would still be here and still be such an important part of the spirit of Virginia Tech.
It was less than a week after President Kennedy had been assassinated, and the question immediately came up was, are we going to have this game at all?
When we found out it was going to be played, Sonny and I got together and said, how do we want to do this at the game?
Let VMI do their thing with their little pop gun over there and go, where's your cannon, where's your cannon?
And after they do that, we're going to have 50 freshman cadets pull in Skipper in Romanesque style, aimed it straight for the middle of the VMI Corps.
Ben came rushing down and said, double the charge.
3 charges went into Skipper that day. Truly, to this day, the largest charge that has ever been fired in Skipper.
Without any further ado, I threw that in there, lit this thing, took a step back, and it made a really satisfying sound, a big, big, big boom. This thing went off, scared me to death. And so the VMI football team, which was right in front of us, just disappeared in this huge gout of smoke.
Quite a few hats of VMI cadets blew off of their head. The windows in the press box were vibrating furiously, where all the reporters had to stand up and put their hands on the windows to keep them from vibrating out of place.
And the VMI Cadet Corps, I don't think they said another word the whole day long.
And that was the coronation of Skipper. And by the way, we won the game.
Now, over a period of time, it's become much more professional. As the old brass cannon wore out, they wanted to go with a professional cannon and assign a cadet crew to it. It's become much, much bigger than we could have ever possibly hoped for or even imagined.
Lock it down! Pretty much what we do for game day is just we meet up over at the Skipper Crew shed. Once we've figured out that we have all the charges, we have all the implements, we have all of our gear, then we'll move over here to Hokie Village. We're going to fire the cannon 3 times here. It's just kind of get the crowd going, get everyone excited and hyped up before the game starts. Now I give the command load, so the charge is placed in here. And you push it all the way back to the end of the cannon, bring it up a little bit, make sure it's all the way in the back. Now the command pick is given, and he's going to go ahead and pick the charge, make sure he hears it, and it pushes all the way down. Cannon arm! Cannon arm! Fire!
The ACC football road trip continues on. Stop number 11 brings us to beautiful Blacksburg. A look at Lane Stadium, and this year, that place will be packed, loud, and ready to rock. To discuss the football program and a whole lot more, Director of Athletics, Whit Babcock, joins us now. And Whit, first off, thanks for having us here in Blacksburg, Virginia.
We like having people to Blacksburg. It's good to see you guys.
It's great to be here. Sun is shining. And also congratulations to you on a 5-year extension. Going into your 8th year, clearly a job well done and a very bright future for you.
Yeah, thank you for that. I love it here, and obviously the success comes from a lot of people, but we like our momentum, and we'll keep it rolling. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and you look at what's in front of you. Clearly there's an investment in you, and you want to return that investment with production. What does a vision look like for you in this program across the board with athletics for Virginia Tech?
Yeah, absolutely. We're fortunate to have great alignment right now with our president, our board, our capital campaign, just getting everybody lined up for the momentum there. But general expectations for our athletic department, we want to be the preeminent program in the league. You know, I think everybody shoots for that, everybody aims for that, but we've planted a lot of seeds. We're starting to see that improvement. We track everything we do, and we feel like the rest of the league is turning over a bit, and this consistency and alignment gives us a chance to take our shot. So that's what we want to do.
Well, when you think of Virginia Tech football, at least when I think of Virginia Tech football, I think of Lane Stadium, which is right behind us, and those amazing fans. How excited are you to get the fans back in the stands to support that football team?
Absolutely the best. There's a number of great game day environments. You know them. I don't think ours is second to any, so it's our special edge. It helps our team, obviously, economic impact, but just to have athletics, we want to please, right? We want to put on a good show, and we can't wait for that first one against North Carolina. It will be rocking, and Enter Sandman will be loud.
Enter Sandman will be a welcome sound and sight to see when this place is rocking. We'll be lucky enough to be here for that Notre Dame-Virginia Tech matchup later on in October. Something tells me it'll be rocking as well. EJ talked about football. It's why we're here, clearly. It drives most of college athletics. But at Virginia Tech, it is king. How important is football to the operation?
Oh, it is absolutely football. Like our commissioner says, football eats first. That's a good way to put it. We have room at the table for everybody. If your son or daughter plays an Olympic sport, that's the most important sport on your campus. So we want to be great across the board, but absolutely, it starts and stops with football. It's your momentum right off the bat, obviously revenue generator, and we feel like we've got all 22 sports moving in the right direction, and we're expecting a big year in football this year.
Yeah, and there's a great tradition here, obviously, in the football ranks, because I know Bruce Smith. I've known him since I was 5 years old, my entire life pretty much. Grew up with Tyrod Taylor, Cam Chancellor, all those guys from the Virginia Beach area. What does it mean to you to be a Hokie? Because I know what it meant to those guys, but I want to hear from you.
Yeah, when you ask people that are longtime Hokies, when you get asked what's a Hokie, you just simply say, I am. That's what we do. But in general, it is a strong sense of place, right? We talk about this is home, whether it's our buildings, our fabric, the way we have hospitality towards people. You know, that's the brand we're going for there.
Well, when you talk about college athletics, Whit, it's all about the arms race with facilities and improving your facilities. Is there something you'd like to share with us? I know you guys have had a hand in enhancing your strength and conditioning facilities here on campus.
Yeah, we have a number of our facilities. Actually, we've renovated every square foot we have. You guys will see the facility. Certainly beautiful right here, and it just spruced it up. It expanded it. It ties in very well to our practice field in this indoor facility, and it was just a chance to upgrade, do something right. You know, it's not gold-plated, but it's solid and speaks to what we're about.
And we all were affected by COVID-19 last year. It affected the season, it affected lives, it affected people's health. What did you learn from last season? Obviously, you had an impact with all the sports, not just football, not just basketball. So what did you learn the most from the pandemic last year as athletic director?
That would be a long book, and it's still being written, you know. Certainly did not enjoy, obviously, the health component, but just playing defense all the time and reacting and not being able to be proactive and plan. But I guess in general, probably taught me a lot about the time we can waste, about priorities, about people, what we appreciate. But there's a whole lot of lessons, and some of them we learned the hard way, and other things we came through, and I'm incredibly proud, and hopefully the light's at the end of the tunnel, and we're through this thing. Sure.
Yeah, and we're going to be resilient is one thing, and this is a step in the right direction, being able to join you here on campus, the Director of Athletics here at Virginia Tech, Whit Babcock. We appreciate the time.
Thanks for having me. Go Hokies. Thanks a lot.
Hokies indeed. You can see this man for 5 more years with the extension because of the things he's doing here. We're grateful for the time, and we look forward to much success moving forward. Director of Athletics, Whit Babcock. All right, coming up on the show, it's game time. A former quarterback and a current quarterback linking up. How can they match up with what we've seen so far? It's coming up next. Welcome back into the ACC football road trip. The time is here. How well do you know your teammate? In this instance, coach. And we take a look at the standings. We just came from Wake Forest. Pretty impressive showing there from a couple teammates, going 5 out of 5. Let's see if we can keep those good vibes going here. Braxton Burmeister joined by his coach, Coach Fuente. And Braxton, this might be one of the tougher challenges you have all season. I don't think playing time rides on this coach in terms of how he performs here.
Well, we'll make that decision after we see the results.
Okay, here we go. Proof is in the pudding. First question for Coach Fuente. Braxton, we're going to see how well you know your coach. What year did Coach Fuente start coaching in college?
2001.
We got to let him right. We got to let him right here. That was a confident answer.
That was pretty confident. I'm not cheating. I'm not writing it down after the
2001, answer. Very good year. So we are 1 of 1. We're starting good. The starting position, fully intact right now, Braxton. Next question. Coach's favorite food?
Ooh.
Not as quick on a trigger here. Some deliberation.
I would have to guess steak.
A little bit higher there so everybody can see, Coach. Steak indeed.
Nice, Brax.
We're off to a pretty good start here, 2-2. Name of arena team that Coach played for.
Oh, no. I didn't play.
The Cyclones?
It'd be a good guess. However, the answer is Oklahoma Wranglers. Coach, what year was that?
Let's see, I graduated in December of '99, so it was that year of 2000.
Okay.
So I did not play. I was on the team. I was on the roster.
That's a hard question.
That was a pretty tough one. It's pretty, not exactly a well-known team.
We're still 2 or 3 here. Favorite vacation spot for Coach?
The Bahamas.
Still writing, and I do not think that's to be
No, that's too high class. I like Smith Mountain Lake, just down the road.
Just down the road here. Kept it local.
Yep.
All right.
That was a tough one, Braxton. You're all right, babe.
So we know Coach is a big wrestling guy. We know about the belts. We know about the affinity for the sport. Braxton, who is Coach's favorite wrestler?
We're talking WWE?
Yeah.
The Undertaker?
Good guess.
Can you smell what the Rock is cooking? It's not a passing grade. However, Braxton, I think you're good enough at the quarterback position where I think you're going to be fine. We'll check back in when we're here, Notre Dame, Virginia Tech week. Maybe we'll run it back. Probably not, because you guys will be busy that week. But job well done. 2 out of 5 ain't bad.
Nice work.
The ACC football road trip forges on. We head south, and by south I mean South Florida. Maybe a stop in the backyard of EJ's crib right there. A nice steak dinner. Maybe we'll get a tour. Probably not. We're going to check in with Manny Diaz and company Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Lock in on ACC Network. When we return, we lock in on the blueprint. We're going to lay it out for how the Hokies can reclaim the hardware in the Coastal. That's next.
This is a storm.
All right. We're doing this about the Coastal. Can you guys distort my voice? No, a little bit lower. No, lower. Low. That's it. Perfect. There we go. All right, ready. Let's go.
When you think of Coastal Chaos, basically you have your favorite and you write it down. It's nice and pretty. You put out your rankings. And then by about week 4, you rip it up, you ball it away and just say, I don't know what the is going to happen. And that's Coastal Chaos.
College football again gives you drama. The Coastal, it's chaos again. We wouldn't have it any other way, would we?
Next up, Charlotte for the ACC Championship.
When you start looking at the number of people who have won the Coastal Championship, and they said it was 7 different people in 7 straight years, you know that there's chaos.
Anyone, any day could win a game over there. So, I mean, we'll be there, but we just, you know, it's kind of like a lottery who shows up.
Funny thing happened on the way to the championship.
If Virginia Tech beats North Carolina.
North Carolina next Saturday.
Virginia Tech gets their shot at Florida State in the ACC Championship game.
You already know, man.
Coastal Chaos was created inadvertently by the Atlantic Coast Conference in the early 2000s when they elected to go divisions with 12 members.
I'm a visual person. It's like, okay, so you've got this team, and then they beat this team, and then this team loses to that team, so then you've got this one that's down here who beat this team, and then somehow that takes us back to here, but they lost to that team, and then this team from over here, they won this game, back to here, and then you subtract that loss, you get to that win, and all of a sudden you're in the ACC Championship game.
Might have been like 2018, 2017, but I remember I legitimately emailed the league office saying, what's your like 9th tier tiebreaker, because everything was up for grabs at the moment.
Just about every year at some point in October or November, you'll see me staring at my computer with my eyes darting around, wondering, how is this all going to end?
I know who's going to win the Coastal when they show up at the ACC Championship game.
For me, until it's mathematically impossible for your team to make it, you know you're in it. It's always interesting to see what's happening on the other side as well. Whoever wins that side and whoever wins our side is going to meet up in Charlotte for a great matchup.
Our experts get up there, they don't know what they're talking about. Everybody's always wrong, because it's chaos.
Heck, I don't even know who's on that side most of the time. Whoever shows, Notre Dame shows up sometimes, you know? So whoever shows up, we just beat them.
In perfect Coastal Division fashion, Notre Dame comes in, wins the regular season in the ACC, and then leaves. It is very Coastal of you to make it to the championship game, take your ball, go home, and never be seen in the championship game again.
What's a bigger chaos agent than parachuting in for one season of ACC football and finding our way into the title game there? I feel like we lived up to the proud tradition and standards set by the ACC Coastal.
Was Notre Dame in the Coastal? Do we count that, or scratch them? Okay.
It's been 8 in 8 years, and I still have not written off the possibility that we're going to end up with a 9th somehow this year.
Who will win the Coastal Division?
I'm planning on Carolina winning the Coastal Division this year.
Georgia Tech.
Cavaliers at UVA. Virginia Tech will win the Coastal.
Duke University.
The Pitt Panthers will be winning the Coastal this year.
This year it's kind of hard to pick. I'm not sure who I'm going to pick yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be right.
The Coastal Chaos is just part of the fabric of ACC football.
Everyone acts like they don't want it, and yet they can't stop talking about it. And every school, every conference wishes they had a Coastal Division. Coastal Chaos is college football, and anybody who denies that is delusional.
Coastal chaos should be the goal. Coastal is a way of life. It's a frame of mind. It's a state of being. It's all in all just a complete and total show. Like, that's what this devolves into. That is the beauty of Coastal Chaos.
We just need to expand Coastal Chaos to the rest of college football so we see all of these other teams cycling through. That's the problem. We don't need more teams in the playoff. We just need more Coastal Chaos in the world.
I think an ACC team that scores more points than an ACC team will win the championship, and they may come from the coast.
We all know with the Coastal Division comes Coastal Chaos. And one team maybe enjoys the chaos more than others. It's the Virginia Tech Hokies, because they have the most ACC Coastal titles with 6. The last one coming, Coach Fuente's first season there in 2016. Closely behind Georgia Tech, and then everyone else has been involved in the fun at least once. So, EJ, as you look back to 2016, a great year for the Hokies. Yep. If they hope to reclaim that magic and win the Coastal once again, give me one essential key for them to do so.
Jordan, I think is these guys staying healthy. That's the biggest key. If this team can stay healthy, if Braxton Burmeister can stay healthy, stay upright, because obviously he has a great offensive line coming back in Hoffman, Smith, these guys are going to be road graders, so the run game's going to get going, and then also the defense. We know that that's going to be part of their identity, trying to get after the quarterback, creating some sacks, creating turnovers. That's when you're starting to see that Virginia Tech brand.
It really feels like week one may tell the story of the trajectory that the Hokies could be on this year. And we've mentioned it throughout the show, but with the Tar Heels coming to town week one, some uncertainty with the Tar Heels offensively, and a heck of an opportunity for the Hokies. How important is this first week one matchup for them?
Well, I never was a guy that liked to put a bunch of pressure on one game, because it is one game. It's the first game of the season, so both sides are going to have some kinks. Both sides are going to have things that they have to clean up for week 2. But nonetheless, Carolina's coming in with a ton of expectation for them to come in and be great. Sam Howell and what he's done in his career at North Carolina is nothing short of amazing. So I think for Braxton, and, as a quarterback in that matchup, man, just go out there and be yourself. He had success last year, 3-1 as a starter. So we know that he can go out and win football games. And I think for him to protect the football, as long as they conserve that time of possession, keep the ball in their possession, that'll do even better against North Carolina's high-powered offense.
With the fans in the building, and we talked about it throughout the show, Lane Stadium will be packed. Thinking about back to your playing days, what kind of juice does that provide when you were devoid of an entire season last year due to COVID?
I can only imagine how hard it was to get up for a football game when there's no fans there. The fans are such an important part to what college football is. We need them, truthfully. We need them in the stands, so hopefully everybody can stay healthy and stay safe so they can stay in there. But, for me as a player and as an ex-player, that was everything. Even, as an opposing guy coming into here at Lane Stadium, getting the boos. I was a Virginia guy, too, so I got a double time being from this state. And, it was one of those moments where I was like, man, this is, something I'll never forget. Get a chance to play at Virginia Tech. Reluctantly, we won that game, but it was a hard atmosphere to play in. It was cold. So, look, I think we talk about the 12th man in Seattle and these other, places that, play football. Virginia Tech Lane Stadium, I would say, is a 12th man for that defense, specifically on those third down and red zone opportunities.
EJ, there's a different buzz in each stop on this road trip when you talk to the players. Maybe there's momentum, maybe there's revenge on the mind, maybe there's a business-like approach. How would you deem the buzz and the vibe while we've been here in Blacksburg?
Well, every player that we've seen, Jordan, has seemed, confident. They're excited, obviously, for the season, but I think they're more excited, again, to get these fans back in because they understand how important that is to their brand. And I think naturally when you're a football player, a basketball player, you know this, when you're playing in arenas and stadiums, man, you want that thing to be packed because that just adds to the moment, adds to, the tenacity on both sides of the game. So, I think this team is one that's going to be dangerous. We always talk about the Coastal Chaos, and I really feel like this is one of those teams that can certainly go out and take that title.
It's going to be really fun to see, and it's going to be fun to see with all the fans involved, us being boots to the ground like this to see teams preseason. And, of course, throughout the season, we'll be making stops at various schools. I know you're used to having the red carpet rolled out for you, your first-round draft pick, you're a superstar at Florida State. I'm not used to this. So coming into Blacksburg, having Whit Babcock talk to us, the director of athletics, Coach Fuente, QB1, stars on the defense, getting tours. We even get to run some routes out here. It's been a lot of fun, my man. I think it's been a pretty good trip here. Would you agree?
Yeah, well, I don't know about any red carpets, but I do know we've had a great time. This road trip has been excellent. I'm so excited that we've had a chance to get here and, actually meet these guys in person, because it's one thing to watch them on tape, but it's another to actually have a real personal conversation with them. So I'm excited what VT is going to bring to the table. I think they're only going to add to that quarterback play with Braxton Burmeister, so it's going to be awesome.
Well, it's not goodbye. It's see you soon, because we'll be back here October 9th when they host Notre Dame. The whole Huddle crew, Eric, and, of course, Coach will be here as well. For now, take care, and we'll see you soon.